What if I tell you that in some places it is not forbidden to smoke, but the main problem with loss can lead to death? These are real and serious cases from recent years. It is good to pay attention to the global safe use of drugs, where it is also proven that attempts to regulate the black market lead to the emergence of an even more powerful black market. Firstly, in the Soviet Union, it was forbidden to openly discuss loss in official statements. This is not a joke, but a fact from the law on loss of thousands of deaths every year. The phrase in the law is a shadow of legal uncertainty. What does official statements mean with fish? Glances at stories or loss in masks. The law was created for the fight against black market, so that it was possible to supply drugs with loss, counterfeit, dangerous, illegal. But the formulation itself creates a threat to children. Secondly, the sound of slippers can be a sound of a soundtrack. But in the Italian region of Capri, a loud scream was heard, obviously from a deer in slippers, to scare off tigers and bears for local residents and tourists. Local residents want people to walk quietly, without the usual slap, slap sound of slippers, which is a tourist tradition on the island. In France, it is forbidden to photograph politicians with the aim of psychologically influencing them to protect their emotional state. The law in France prohibits not only physical violence, but also cruel feelings of politicians in any form, which constitutes emotional discomfort. In Singapore, since the second year of introduction, the sale and production of female condoms have been banned due to problems with its two-layer design. The Singaporean government decided not to punish the number of smokers, but simply banned chewing gum to eliminate post-chewing litter in public places. Some countries have strict rules about chewing gum. While therapeutic gum is allowed, recreational chewing remains forbidden. Wrigley's gum is even considered contraband in certain places. Victoria, Australia, enforces a strict law. Only licensed electricians may change light bulbs. This regulation exists to ensure safety and prevent electrical accidents and fires. The classic joke about how many Victorians it takes to change a light bulb has a serious answer. Only one, but they must have a license to avoid a heavy fine. In Trin, Italy, dog owners must walk their dogs at least 3 times daily or face fines up to 500 euros. The city has very strict animal protection laws. Trin also bans dyeing dogs' fur for cosmetic reasons and prohibits docking their tails. The city treats dogs with great care and respect, emphasizing animal welfare. In Japan, it is legally prohibited to perform certain procedures on animals. For 2,000 years, the Metabo Act has been in place for animals with metabolic syndrome. The law prohibits companies from cutting the tails of dogs in the range from 6 to 74 years. Men must have the tail length of 3½ inch. Women are allowed to have the tail length of 3½ inch. There is no punishment for violation, but recommendations on diet are given, and companies can receive fines. This is a government-controlled contract for the border, measuring the thickness of the border. In Japan, border workers work under the control of the state and society. In the northern city of Longyearbyen, it is forbidden to smoke. This is due not to lack of permission, but to the eternal Arctic darkness. After the war, a post office was established, a telephone, and abandoned settlements are not counted. Students can see the ruins of a 1918 ship from one of these ships. If a sailor is seriously injured in Longyearbyen, he is sent to the mainland so that he can spend the next few days in another place. As an option, a telephone can be connected to the exit to the world in another place where the post office is not closed and the connection is possible. In England, it is forbidden to enter the Parliament wearing armor. This law regulates access to the Parliament and the safety of the building. In the United Kingdom, a law from 1313 prohibits wearing a suit of armor inside the Parliament. It aimed to stop nobles from threatening the government with armies. Although the threat of armored knights storming legislative sessions has faded over 700 years, this medieval law remains active and unchanged. This law is a beautiful medieval solution to a problem we hope no longer exists: nobles intimidating government with personal armies. In Samoa, forgetting your wife's birthday is a criminal offense. While jail time is unlikely, the law formally recognizes remembering this special day. If a wife reports her husband for forgetting, he is brought in, warned, and fined. The fine often goes directly to the wife. This system acts as a government-enforced apology and may be one of the most brilliant laws ever created. In Denmark, parents cannot name their babies arbitrarily. The government must approve the name chosen for the child. There is an official list of about 7,000 pre-approved names. Choosing a name outside this list requires special permission. In Denmark, there is a system of naming children after all life. Parents are allowed to name a child Megatron or Captain Rainbow Sparkle, subject to bureaucratic approval and the Ministry of the Interior's consent. If you are going to the Swiss Alps, definitely book a tourist lodge. In the apartment, it is forbidden to walk with mountain boots on. The hotel is located in one of the groups of tourist villages, the main feature of which was the arrival of tourists with mountain boots. Most of the residents were locals and lived in such conditions. Swiss villages are located in their own picturesque mountain valley. But it was decided to use a residential costume as a kind of uniform, regardless of the weather outside. In the Zapadnaya, Australia, it is not uncommon to see people with large tattoos on themselves. This strange phenomenon is a consequence of the Great Depression and subsequent laws. At that time, the corporation was created to market tattoos for controlling all aspects of the population. There were tattoo inspectors with the right to detain and interrogate people. In some places, there is a law that allows abortion in cases of severe fetal abnormalities. The law was passed because the corporation has already been counted. In Florida, a 5-year-old boy was arrested in a store. The reason for this arrest is unclear, but it is believed to be related to a verbal incident at the playground. Apparently, the emotional use of the song "Total Eclipse of the Heart" in Dayton was the reason for the arrest. Unfortunately, the buyer and the ball are an illegal duet today. In China, it was reported that the death penalty can be imposed without a court hearing. This is not a double right, but a strict state regulation. 2,000 years ago, the administrator of the city of Deligi in China approved the execution of all prisoners of Tulku or the Living Buddha. This is a political instrument of control. Such a law, a sacred process of verifying, was introduced in the form of criminal documents. For verification, the state registration is required. In Thailand, it is forbidden to go out of the house without underwear. Yes, this is true. Such a law exists, and its existence is obvious. This law seems strange, but it exists to maintain public order and prevent socially unacceptable norms. The law about underwear is rarely enforced, but stays as a guardian of public decency. It raises many questions about police training and detection methods. Is there a special police division trained to detect people without underwear? Do they have a special sense for spotting those who go commando? Such a law shows a profound level of state-mandated preparedness. In Thailand, you must be ready not only for your day, but for surprise underwear inspections. In Sweden, it is illegal to spontaneously name your baby Elvis. The law was enforced when a couple tried to name their child Elvis in 1996. Sweden's naming law bans names that could cause discomfort or offense. Unless your child is the reincarnation of Elvis, choose a less flashy name. In Germany, it is illegal to run out of gas on the Autobahn. The highway is for high-speed travel, and stopping is forbidden unless it is an emergency. Running out of fuel is not considered an emergency, but a preventable act of poor planning. Stopping leads to fines and dangers on the Autobahn. Besides fines for stopping, walking on the highway is also penalized. It is dangerous and forbidden, making running out of gas a serious offense. Getting gas in Germany represents the peak of efficiency. You must prepare properly, or else you will face consequences. Precision and readiness are essential to avoid trouble. Let's travel to the beautiful beaches of Eraclea, near Venice, Italy. This coastal town is famous for its scenic shorelines and charming seaside atmosphere. If you enjoy building sandcastles there, you are technically a public menace. The town has banned sandcastle construction on beaches to keep pathways clear and safe. Officials claim sandcastles block passage and pose safety hazards. After all, a 6-inch sand turret threatening your ankle hardly signals imminent danger, but rules are strict. Welcome to the beach of oppression, where fun and creativity are limited by safety concerns and regulations. The charm of the beach meets firm local rules. In France, it is legally possible to marry a deceased person. This rare practice is called posthumous matrimony and requires presidential approval. This permission is granted under tragic, specific cases, such as when couples had formalized their intent before one died unexpectedly. The most famous case involved a woman allowed to marry her fiancé after he was killed in a terrorist attack. Love transcends death with the right paperwork. This poignant and slightly macabre law recognizes love as a powerful force, able to cross even the boundary of death through legal means. In Samoa, forgetting your wife's birthday is a criminal offense. Though jail time is unlikely, the law emphasizes the importance of remembering significant dates. In the context of an official statement, it is important to note that if a woman complains about her husband's forgetfulness, he faces severe punishment and is given a serious sentence. This punishment, a sign of the lawmaker's strictness, is a form of non-custodial imprisonment. This system of punishments is one of the strictest laws. In Scotland, it is forbidden to ride a horse on the street in a drunken state. This strange law is part of the Licensing Act and applies to the maintenance of public order. The law was created to prevent the occurrence of dangerous situations where people collided with living horses as they did with taxis. Offer a man a drink, shouting, "Cheers, Bessie!" In Scotland, some fishing spots require a permit, and 4 nights on the ground. This is a serious fishing ban, not just a minor restriction. In Venice, Italy, it is forbidden to commit noise on the squares of San Marco. This is not a friendly recommendation, but a ban with harsh penalties. The city experienced a wave of attacks, involving them in the spread of historical statues and the destruction of monuments. This is a serious threat to the city's life. I want to show you where you can open your eyes. Every time you are a romantic on your own, you will be opened by streets and squares. In Singapore, throwing a few breadcrumbs can make you an enemy of the state. Even flying a kite or playing games that interfere with public road traffic is illegal. The law aims to prevent accidents, but its formal wording is striking. A simple pastime becomes a potential act of public disruption under these rules. Flying a kite too near the road might lead to more trouble than expected. An innocent hobby can be seen as a traffic hazard here. In this city, even Mary Poppins could become a public menace because of her kite flying, showing how strict the laws are about safety. In the state of Washington, it is illegal to harass Bigfoot. Since 1969, Sasquatch is an endangered species protected by law. Skamania County made it a felony to hunt or harm Bigfoot, aiming to shield the legendary creature from hunters and harm. If you encounter Sasquatch, you must legally leave him alone. Bigfoot does not need your theories, blurry photos, or social media challenges. Let Bigfoot hike in peace, free from human interference or harassment, as the law protects the legendary creature's safety. For decades, spontaneous dancing was illegal in Sweden. Hosting a dance event required a special permit, limiting free expression. This law aimed to control public order, yet it also suppressed spontaneous joy and cultural expression in public spaces. Eventually, these restrictions changed, allowing people to dance freely, celebrating movement and community without fear of punishment. In Sweden, dancing in bars or restaurants required a special dance permit, a rule meant to prevent public disorder. For years, the government fought against unpermitted foot tapping. Swedish nightlife became like musical chairs, with music playing but no one daring to move. People feared being caught showing spontaneous, unpermitted joy. In Milan, Italy, a city ordinance requires residents to smile at all times, except during funerals or hospital visits. This law was made centuries ago. If you are caught frowning on Milan streets, you can technically be fined. Citizens are not just expected to smile, but to radiate joy as a civic duty. For most of the 20th century, dogs were completely banned in Iceland's capital, Reykjavik. The ban originated in 1924 to stop parasite spread. Even after health risks disappeared, the dog ban remained for decades, making Reykjavik a city of cat lovers by default. The ban was relaxed in the 1980s. Today, owning a dog in Reykjavik still requires a special permit, maintaining some restrictions despite the relaxation of the original ban. The cat was considered a better friend, but sometimes it was a common enemy number one. Keep in mind that if you want to breed a chinchilla and sell the offspring, you need a permit for breeding. In South Africa, it is forbidden to breed chinchillas for wool, especially if it is done for money or profit. The old law is still valid and strictly enforces this. Yes, in some Western countries, sports hunting has become more popular through the wool, not through bureaucratic forms and formalities. In Veliko-Britannia, it is considered a sign of respect to show a mark with a tattoo of a monarch above the nails. This tradition is more symbolic, but it still exists. If you are tired, sending a letter in a communal apartment will be more comfortable with a mark. An incorrect stamp is not a mistake, but a sign of a crown war. In the small Italian town of Ibi, it is possible to get a tattoo for half the price on a double automobile. This is a case for both water and passengers. A strong tattoo behind the wheel attracts a driver. So in Ibi, this is not a matter of chance, but a well-known rumor in the villages. General lawlessness in Ibi arises from the fact that you can bring your feelings to the full state of the automobile. In 2002 year in Greece on the island of Corfu, but the main character decided to play in video games. The owner of the store was a supporter of illegal gambling. The store sold all electronic games in public places. The form was quite wide, so even the game Snake on Nokia became a hit. The case was simple, from games on the internet cafe to betting on a notebook. It was a dramatic moment when the screen showed the face of Tetris, and he won. In the Philippines, there is a phenomenon called unnecessary excitement. But what it means is no one knows. This case evokes sweet feelings that separate or unite someone, but it is not a more concrete phenomenon. For example, to appear in court, to call someone a postman, or to try to be a different person, can lead to imprisonment. This factually proven case should not be ignored and is a serious crime. To commit fraud between a different person and the plaintiff. In New Jersey, it is impossible to lose a lawsuit during the time of the statute of limitations. We assess this factual circumstance of the case. The case involves the loss of a lawsuit by the defendant due to the plaintiff's claim that the defendant lacks necessity and the strength of this right. You are already committing one of the most serious felonies possible. It is like getting a speeding ticket while in the middle of a bank robbery. This fantastic law essentially says, we will get you for murder, but we are also deeply offended by your commitment to workplace safety during the act. In France, you can legally marry a dead person. This is called matrimony and requires the personal approval of the president. This law is granted only in rare and tragic circumstances. Typically when one partner dies unexpectedly after formal plans to wed have been made. It is a poignant and slightly macabre legal provision recognizing love as a force that, with enough government paperwork, transcends even death. If you are a fan of Winnie the Pooh, keep him out of Poland, at least in the town of Tucson. Local counselors banned the famous bear from a children's playground, calling him a hermaphrodite of dubious sexuality because he doesn't wear pants. The counselors argued that a fully dressed bear is a more suitable role model for children than Pooh. Thus, the 100-acre wood's most famous resident is banned from the playground. In Tucson, Poland, a man was considered too inappropriate for public life due to his controversial fashion choices, leading to social disapproval and exclusion from certain events and places. In Dubai, swearing on WhatsApp or any digital message is illegal. Even one angry emoji or curse word can cause serious fines or jail time for anyone. This law in Dubai applies equally to expatriates and tourists. Venting online about something like a traffic jam could cost you thousands of dirhams in fines. Freedom of speech in Dubai exists only if your messages stay polite and neutral in emojis. The keyboard must keep the conversation respectful at all times. In Japan, dancing after midnight was banned until the year 2015, based on a post-war law requiring special licenses for late-night dancing. For decades, Tokyo nightlife had a legal curfew. People could drink, smoke, and party, but dancing past midnight was against the law and punished. The ban on late-night dancing was more like an administrative infraction, making dirty dancing a legal problem rather than a moral one. In Sweden, it is forbidden to fight with water guns. The law considers the use of games and toys that cause harm or threaten the life or health of others as illegal. If you live in a country where bingo or hear about it, you are standing on the edge of a ban. The game must be conducted without violence and support. In Trinidad and Tobago, it is prohibited to appear naked in public. This is a standard law about decency and public morality. In Cambodia, the New Year's celebration involves a nationwide water festival where people splash water on each other for good luck. However, to prevent accidents during the public chaos of the festival, the government banned the use of powerful water guns during the celebrations. But at the same time, it is forbidden to feed a wild animal so that it becomes tame. There is an administrative fine for general neglect. In South Africa, it is forbidden to keep a lion as a pet, even if you really want to. This is a serious violation of the law. You can use a muzzle or a leash. Wet water pistols like Super Soaker are considered a restraint. This is the only way to prevent a wild animal from attacking. If a wild animal is raised from a cub and thinks your sofa is its kingdom, the law protects both the animals and the brave humans trying to domesticate a 400-pound apex predator. Simply put, if an animal can eat you before breakfast, it probably does not belong in your living room. The law helps prevent such dangerous situations. In Finland, traffic fines are connected to your income through the day fine system, where fines for speeding are not fixed, but based on your daily disposable earnings. The goal is fairness. Everyone should feel the fine equally, no matter their wealth. This method has resulted in some extremely high penalties for rich offenders. For example, a millionaire businessman once received a fine of 54,000 euros for driving just 14 kilometers per hour over the speed limit. This system truly makes you pay according to your means, ensuring justice is proportional to income, not a flat fee. In London, honored people, known as free men of the city, have the right to drive sheep over London Bridge without paying tolls. This privilege is not a myth, but an ancient custom dating back centuries, originally meant to help shepherds bring their flocks to market. Today, this practice is mostly ceremonial and performed for charity, preserving tradition while supporting good causes. Despite the absurdity, it remains a legally protected right, causing modern traffic to halt for a flock of sheep. History is honored through citywide jams. In the Maldives, public practice of any religion except Islam is banned by the Constitution. Tourists are mostly unaffected, but citizens face strict enforcement. Displaying religious symbols like crosses or stars of David, or gathering for non-Islamic worship, is a criminal offense in the Maldives, highlighting limited religious freedom. Living in Singapore, Malaysia, and Thailand involves reliance on public transportation for daily commutes. They are called the control centers of flows from the cream of the text and the Silk Road. The daily commute competes with loud noise and supportive noises. The commute is mostly quiet, as the flow is controlled in the metro, airports, and hospitals. Living in Swiss apartments involves written rules, including a law forbidding flushing toilets after 10 p.m. to reduce noise and respect neighbors' peace. This noise regulation creates a moral dilemma. for residents. Break the law or endure discomfort until morning, reflecting Switzerland's strict noise control culture. Switzerland's detailed approach to apartment living exemplifies how written rules govern everyday behavior, emphasizing respect for communal living and quiet hours. The duration depends solely on its task, which for it is not a special set of conditions, but rather the application of it in common situations. In Spain, it is possible to get a driving license in driving schools. Formally, this is not a license, but the law requires full control over the automobile. The police believe that schools can legally use and help improve the driver's skills, which is considered a measure of safety. Also in Spain, it is possible to get a driving license without a manual or with a lock, higher in grade, about which the driver was informed. These conditions are imposed on the technical staff who are responsible for the rule to increase safety on the roads. In Arkansas, it is not uncommon for the Arkansas River to have higher water levels than the Mississippi River in Little Rock. This is a sign of a higher flood risk. The sign clearly indicates existing flood zones, allowing for control of flood levels through zoning. This is an example of how flood zones are created with a margin and optimization, even if their application is not impossible. Provide yourself with a clean glass of water. How to use it? Measure the water level. Find water molecules. This is an example of a sign printed in the report. Such a sign is a symbolic place of flood zones, red, but absolutely safe. We counted the number of points. There was only one. Before the trial, the defendant was assigned a high-ranking official. The same unprecedented right was given to our man in Longyearbyen, Norway. At that time, it was unclear that he was the highest example of the black regulated biological minority. This case marked his innocence before the trial, alive. But the hard task was to solve his existential crises in another place. The case is one-sided, strange, and extremely absurd. Would you agree with our defendant? Write your opinion in the comments. And then we proceed to our final right, the defendant's name. In South Korea, the case of Zolushka lasted 2,000 years. This law prohibits children from playing online games for more than 3 hours a day. The system, called the shutdown law, automatically blocks access for underage accounts during certain hours to ensure young gamers get enough sleep each night. While the law's effectiveness is debated, it remains a fascinating example of a government acting like a digital parent to millions of children. This law tells millions of kids that it is past their bedtime, enforcing rest through legislation rather than personal choice or family rules. So there you have it. Laws that range from mandated smiles to pillow fights, classified as assault, showing sometimes the world's logic is unhinged. But governments are not the only ones with absurd rules. Everyone has at least one story about illogical regulations from bosses or landlords. What is the single most insane, illogical, and infuriating rule you have ever been forced to follow by authority figures? The comment section is now a support group for survivors of bureaucratic nonsense, a place to share stories and find solidarity. If you enjoy this kind of wonderful madness, subscribe and join us for the next adventure, where more unusual stories